something right now. No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Sorry, welcome to the Parlay Pursuit, everybody. I was just reading a copy of Who Moved My Cheese. Obviously, my cheese was moved this weekend quite a bit, so I had to brush up on one of the old classics, calm myself down. How you doing, Dan? How you doing, Alex? We're coming off the heels of UFC 299, most exciting card of the year. We're going to break that down just a little bit, move on to next week's card, UFC Vegas 80, something. It's Tuivasa. He's fighting somebody. I looked the card up and down. It's a real bitch to come off UFC 299 and into this weekend, guys. It's kind of like, by comparison, it's like when you take the weight off the baseball bat. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, what is going on? This is light. This feels light, you know? But we're moving on to UFC Fight Night. We're going to break it down, give you our predictions top to bottom. Thank you for being here. This is the Parlay Pursuits. And last weekend, for the second time in the last three months, Alex almost hit a perfect parlay with 14 fights on the card. 13 out of 14. We're going to break Alex's exciting night down. He had a big win, over $1,000. Would have had a perfect parlay if not for just one fight that was close as could be. We're going to break it all down and talk to you about last weekend. I'm eating a lot of crow. If you've been reading the comments, if you've been watching the show, you know I'm eating crow, and we'll get into that as well. Danny boy, how was your weekend? I haven't really talked to you a little bit. I had my daughter's second birthday, everybody, so it was a busy weekend for me. Still locked and loaded in the Discord. That's how much I care about you guys. You hear that, Layla? Hey, Layla, you hear that? Yeah, Layla knows what I'm talking about. But you guys, I'm a ride or die for the cause. So you're welcome for being there late into the evening with you in the Discord, despite it being my daughter's birthday. Dan, what's up?
I'm doing well. Unfortunately, I cannot make the birthday party, but happy birthday to Luke's daughter. Not going to dox her, put her name out there, but she knows who she is.
There was gambling to do. I completely understand.
There was gambling to do, and the glasses are on, not in shame today and not in mourning, but rather in celebration and living the high life. I did win a couple bones, not G bones like Alex, but, two nice little, what would you call them? Century pieces, $200, right? So,
a blue note, a blue strip. That's what the
blue face, baby.
A G note? No, not a G note.
No,
It's not a G note. That's
$100
bills. Profitable. And man, the month of February, not profitable, but now transitioning into March, we got some profit in. We're having a good weekend, and you know what? Hey, the card's not great, but I see a lot of opportunities, and that's what we're here for. So, looking forward to the weekend. Alex, the man of the hour. Let's toss it over to you. Let's talk about this money.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about the fights this week, like, I know exactly what homeboy Money Moicano was saying. It's like, would you rather be the main event on this fight or the first fight of the night so you can leave sooner? Like, it doesn't even matter when you're in the Apex. Like, who the hell cares where you are on the card? It's always going to be a shitty card now. But I'm here. I won money. I won you money. I would have won more money, but I cashed out on one of the bets. If you had bigger balls than me, you would have won more money. It was all in the open bet sheet. It's patreon.com/perfect parlay pursuit. That's how you get access to the open bet sheet, and you can win along with me. Yes, only one fighter spoiled my evening, and it's no other than who I could have thought it was. I didn't think I'd be in a position where Gilbert Burns is the only guy to lose. I thought I'd have a lot more losses. That's why I picked Gilbert Burns. If I knew that, I would have picked Jack Della Maddalena, but Gilbert Burns was winning. It's a whole cycle. I'm in the whirlwind right now, so to say.
Yeah, it's like, how do you even know what to think after something like that? You feel probably equally as bad as Gilbert did if you saw RoboCop comforted him. Man, if I ever have a bad moment, I hope RoboCop comforts me, man. It looked really nice to be in his arms. Gilbert Burns,
I missed that.
Burns is about my height. I might be a little taller, but he just buried his head right in RoboCop's big chest, and imagine getting a hug by a jacked Obama. I mean, listen, I'm not out here saying Obama saved America.
That's like AR.
You can't deny he's a comforting person. He at least, forget his politics, forget what he did, forget the drones. You still would hug him. You know what I mean? You'd still give him a big old hug because he knows how to at least MK Ultra you into loving him, like in that present moment. So my point is, guys, imagine if he was jacked and you had just lost the most important fight of your life, and he by knockout and he hugged you. That's what I want. But Alex, I wish that he could have hugged you because it was more traumatic. Guys, I tailed it. If you were in my open bet sheet, you saw that I pretty much tailed Alex's perfect parlay. The only one I left off was Joanna Wood, and I tailed it all the way up. So I was super psyched. I was going to win about $1,700 if Alex hit the perfect parlay. I did, when I knew Burns was a long shot. I didn't pick him. I picked Jack Della, but I was on an island by myself. Dan and Alex both had Burns, so I wanted to believe in that moment. I said, look, let's just let this ride. It's Alex's perfect parlay. Let's let it ride. We let it ride, and I'm like, not even wanting to hedge out because I'm like, Burns is winning this shit. But
I cashed out a one.
There was only one moment I could have hedged out, and that was at the end of round 1 when Jack Della was a plus 102 dog live. And it was in that moment I was like, I could hedge out right now. I'm like, but I think Burns is gonna fucking win, And I still would have had to make a sizable bet on Jack Della in that moment. It would have eaten into my profits. Had Burns did win, then I would have been like, I won $500 or whatever. It's like I needed to just put up or shut up at that point,
Yeah, he was looking good. I thought he was going to win it. A lot of ground control time and all that. Alex, what was your mindset? Were you like, oh man, we're coasting through the main card here?
That's exactly what I thought, and I was thinking the exact opposite in the fight after. Like when I saw, or not the fight after that, Dustin Poirier versus BSD. Like when I was watching that fight, I was like, I lost. I'm a fucking idiot. Why did I think Dustin Poirier was going to beat BSD? It's a 28-year-old versus a 37-year-old or some shit. Like, how could I be so stupid? I hate Dustin Poirier. I hate him so much. And I love BSD, and I bet against BSD just because I thought Dustin would win this fight, and he's just jumping guillotine like a moron. And I'm just getting so mad. And then he ends up knocking him out, and I was like really stoked. But it was the complete opposite feeling I was having with the Gilbert Burns fight. I was like, all right, Gilbert might have won round 1. He definitely won round 2. He's winning round 3. Wow, this is amazing. Like, awesome. Like, Gilbert Burns plus 300 odds. Who else would have called it but me? I'm a genius. This is going to be so great.
He's like plus 180.
Oh, really?
I don't know. No, maybe not. I don't know.
I thought
I think of Dustin Poirier, I think.
Dustin Poirier was like plus 200, I think.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
Oh,
Gilbert Burns was only plus 135. Okay. Apologies. That can't be right.
No. It moved quite. It was closer to 2, I think, 2 to 1.
Okay.
But anyway, I get what you're saying.
And I was like, who would have called a 37-year-old man beating up a young up-and-coming stud in this division? Who would have called this except for me? Like, I'm a genius. And then Gilbert Burns gets knocked out.
That was devastating. I mean, you can't blame him. Ride the horse that got you there. He went for the takedown, but what a time to knee. I mean, and he didn't have the face of Cheeto Vera in that moment. So
it's so true.
We can get into that, but I'd more so let's talk about the co-main event first. I mean, you want to see me eat crow? I'll eat crow, guys. I mean, what do you want from me? Like, I'm gonna do that every time. I'm gonna bet against the guy that I don't like. Who's when you give me a reason to.
You have too many biases, Luke, and you have to come to grips with the fact that you hate guys so much that you refuse to bet on them, and that puts you in a no-win scenario at times.
But it really wasn't so much like, if all right, I'll tell you. I mean, I've been fading Dustin Poirier a long time, thinking that he's a hangover of a bygone day.
He's never lost consecutive fights ever in his career, ever.
Right, but he's never been as old as he currently is, and he's never been knocked out in that kind of way as at this stage in his life.
BSD never beat a guy in the top 10 and had a lot of hype. And he showed he's pretty damn good, but
Here's the thing. Here's my thing, guys.
I don't know.
All of what you're saying about BSD is way less than people said about O'Malley when he fought even Vera the first time. Okay. Then he fought Pedro. Then he fought the guy Jan. Then he fought Jan. Then he fought Aljo. Nobody ever thought he was going to win any of those fights. Except us. Honestly, except us, because we saw, okay, who's more marketable, right? And we were just like, kind of go with that. Like it was the beginning of us starting to like kill our darlings era of like, which is really the start. We started the show. We saw the show began first event, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, couldn't have been more of a dick kick for the UFC tried, true, tested, hardcore fans who just really wanted the right thing to happen for a guy like Tony Ferguson. The right thing meaning the fight with Khabib, right? And that was the fight to get the fight with Khabib, and it didn't ever really need to happen. But for that to be the first show we did predictions on, I forget who I took, Gaethje, Ferguson. I really forget who I took, but I think it was Ferguson. It had to have been Ferguson. But my point is, I think that was the beginning of me kind of going like, okay, betting on the UFC is not, and that was the first time I bet on the UFC. So it was like, okay, betting on the UFC is not the same as being a fan. You got to be willing to kill your darlings a little bit. You got to be willing to not let your heart come into play. But that being said, you sometimes do. You sometimes do have to, because there's a certain element of heart in fighting, like in the whole fight itself. And what I'm trying to say is that seeing what BSD had done, and seeing what had just been done to Dustin Poirier, seeing the age discrepancy, seeing this kind of new wave versus old guard thing, I'm gonna do that every time, most of the time, right? I'm gonna do that most of the time because I've done it the other way. And I've been wrong. And not only have I done it the other way and been wrong gambling at the early stages of the show, I've done it the other way and been wrong as a fan way too many times. I mean, I started this sport with Chuck Liddell being my favorite fighter. The next fight he had after that was Rashad Evans. So it's like, maybe Keith Jardine. I think I might have caught him, unless I'm just remembering watching old UFC Unleashed on Spike TV.
Right.
But I'm thinking I may have saw him fight Keith Jardine, or maybe it was Vanderlei Silva. I think I might have saw him get one win or like a good fight. I think he beat Vanderlei with that. And I'm just trying to remember my early origins, but it's like knockout. I watched Chuck Liddell get knocked out by everybody. And then I started liking front runners. That's when I started becoming a BJ Penn, Anderson Silva fan, you know? I'm like, I can't do this. I can't go through these ups and downs. I need to pick a winner. So that's what I like now. I like Dynasty. I like Tom Brady's. You know what I mean? Who do I peg as those guys right now, right?
You'd peg any guy.
Only a couple, all right.
A lot of pegging.
Nato Moicano comes to mind, but the one I was going to name actually is Ilia Topuria, and he's one of the best looking guys in the UFC, one of the smoothest guys in the UFC. So I'd happily be his boyfriend. But that being said, Ilia Topuria, I have the perfect drop for that, but my finger wasn't on the trigger. Ilia Topuria, I think could be the next big front runner. I think, and like Sugar Sean, nobody was giving him any respect all the way through, really. I hate you guys.
So wait, hold on. Alex, you needed Dustin Poirier to win in order for you to win money. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Same
was the
here.
last fight for me.
Dude, where's
Same
my head
here.
at? I'm literally going into Patreon talk. I'm going into speculative conversation. We have an agenda. I'm sorry, guys.
Before we
Hold on.
Before we move any further,
agenda right here. I gotta say something.
It's St.
Dustin
Patrick's.
Poirier, you deserve our flowers. Okay, we need to give him his flowers because Alex and I needed him to win in order to, be profitable this week. So here's to you. This is a traditionally DP hatred show. Today we have to give him some love. He deserves some flowers. That's all I got to say, because I had him for DP knockout and DP just straight up money line. Straight up money line was for the next fight would be for Vera. The next fight for the DP knockout was for O'Malley, I believe. Something of that combination. So once he got that win, especially with the knockout, I was like, nice. I'm just sitting on money right now. So it was a beautiful moment for me. Here are some beautiful flowers for you. They're fake, so let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. You're only getting the fake flowers, all right? I have some real flowers over there. I'm not going to give them to you quite yet. But here's some fake ones. Here's to you, Dustin Poirier. I'm not going to buy your hot sauce quite yet, but yeah, listen, give him the credit. Give him the credit. And I'll say this. The staph infection. Did you guys hear of the staph infection before the fight? Because I had, and that did in fact go into my equation.
Well, I'm on screen. Put the flowers away for a second.
No, not yet. We're still talking about him, so he still gets the flowers.
I saw the staph infection. I posted on Instagram. I said, not only is Dustin getting knocked out, he's going to get staph too.
Well, screw you, because that didn't happen.
It's like,
all right, flowers.
Oh, that's your takeaway?
Flowers.
Man,
I still hate Dustin Poirier. My biggest fantasy is that he jumps guillotine, ends up on his back, guy pops his head out, right? But pops the head out in a way where like the momentum of him jumping the guillotine and the momentum of his head coming the other way, it's like a slip, right? So he slips and Dustin goes, ugh, and he hits the ground and his head hits the ground a little bit, right? Like kind of, actually it hits the ground pretty hard. And that's actually a minor concussion when his head hits falling from the distance he jumps guillotine from. So he's like rattled a little bit. and the guy on top just goes boom, 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 and the ref is Chris Taglioni, and he's literally way on the other side of the octagon. Trips on his shoelaces on the way over, and the guy's just still hitting him. And eventually he overhears, like, stop the fight. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, shit. And he's like, look, he's like, Chris Taglioni's still over there. And then Chris is getting up, and he's like, oh, going like this. And yeah, that's my biggest hope. Position over submission all day, all night. He said he would do it again. I'm like, good. Keep doing it. I love it.
I know. I was happy to hear that, too, because then I can fade him in.
Who against me in a street fight?
Luke, you brought up the first
I had a deep conversation with Steven Seagal last time I was in Dubai.
Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. You know who was on that card? The chef, Charles Rosa, and that's where the legend was born.
Charles Rosa?
My man.
I love Charles Rosa. He should have a cameo. Why doesn't he have a cameo on Chef? That's a Boston show, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Didn't one of you text? Anyway, moving on. So listen, main event: Sugar Sean O'Malley, Marlon Vera. What can I say? I mean, as the fight drew nearer, when I saw Marlon Vera cheat to make weight, which no one's talking about. You guys see that?
Right. Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, he might fucking win because he's fucking willing to do anything right now. I'm like, he's willing to do he's willing to get dirty, and I'm like, and cheaters always win. And I was like, when it comes down to it, O'Malley, here's what I thought. My brain got a little crazy. I was like, type of guy to get that's unfair. And then all of a sudden it sticks with him a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm definitely wrong. I'll say this. That was just my thought for a second. I'm like, he's a little younger. He might be like, what the fuck? And then in the fight, if anything happens in Marlon's favor, I thought in his mind, he'd be like, well, he fucking didn't even make weight. And then that little thought I thought would be in a game of inches, that would be the centimeter to tip it in Marlon's favor, distract Sugar for a second. And honestly, I thought Marlon could do something like what he did in the last second, maybe in round 3, round 4, round 5. You know what I mean? A little sooner. And quite literally, I lost all respect for Marlon Vera. What little I had. We called him a fashionista, star fucker, complete star fucker. You know who else is a star fucker? Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Because in the moment when she gets her Hall of Fame speech, who does she turn and hug? Or her Hall of Fame moment? Who she turn around and hug? Action Bronson. Like, he wasn't with you shooting in the gym, Joanna. So that's all I got to say about that. It's like, hug your coach, hug your fucking manager, hug Dana White.
Was he like right behind her though? And she was just hugging anybody?
It's, I don't know. I mean, imagine our podcast wins an award and you hug Action Bronson instead of me.
Well, we'd all be next to each other. Her coach wasn't there. Shame on the coach for not being there. I'm sure he was privy to the news.
The coach was
that fighter gets inducted into the Hall of Fame and you don't get a ticket. That's crazy. But her coach was probably
her coach was there.
Brown.
Mikey Brown.
Mike Brown.
He was busy cornering Dustin Poirier probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't feel as bad. In my mind, I forgot that he was her coach, and I'm thinking of some guy back in Poland watching on TV like. But anyway, what a performance by Sugar Sean. Marlon Vera.
Not champ material. Not even contender material.
To be honest, not competitive fighter material at this point, because it's like if every fight was 1 round, he'd be winless.
Oh yeah.
If every fight were 2 rounds, he'd be winless. You know what I mean? So it's like he doesn't come on and fight. And what is that really? Like, that is something you need to see a sports psychologist for. That is self-sabotaging. That is fear of getting tired. That is fear of putting out your best effort and not having it not be rewarded. It's the same reason John Jones said he would party before the week before the fight. Or it's kind of like
give yourself the excuse or whatever.
Yeah. Or stack the deck against you. I have a chip on your shoulder. Build adversity first, and then fight from behind. So you can say, well, I wasn't even really trying in round 1 or round 2. So if I, it's like it's pathetic. Honestly, it's quite literally pathetic. I don't know. Yoel Romero, I give a pass for. I don't know, for the same kind of style, really. But I do it because he's a brick shithouse, and he has to conserve his energy. You know what I mean? To go 5 rounds. Yeah. And he's in situations where, like,
he's at 205.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I lost a lot of respect for Marlon Vera. you know, what's going to happen if you're a parent, you get beat in a fight by Sugar Sean, and your son starts acting like a punk, like Sugar Sean, right? Like Tekashi 6ix9ine, like the Nelk Boys. Your son starts misbehaving, and you have to be like, hey, behave yourself. At least Volk lost to Islam Makhachev. You know what I mean? If his kids aren't going to be like, well, Islam Makhachev does it. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be like, yeah, Islam Makhachev lives a very disciplined life. You want to go live like Islam Makhachev, be my guest. But you want to go live like Sugar Sean O'Malley, big problem. But when Sugar Sean beats you in a fight, it's kind of like, now it's like, well, his philosophy is better than yours. So why should I listen to you? I'm going to listen to him. He knows a thing or two.
Well, you should show him the clips where he's like, I actually don't smoke pot all that much. I'm kind of boring. I just train a lot. And then when the press conference comes, I dye my hair and pull up a weed pen or whatever. That's what he says all the time. I'm just saying. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But he should show him
that reminds me of when Mila Kunis was like, you know what I loved about the cast of That 70s Show? Everybody was super straight edge and didn't drink and didn't do drugs, and they were really dedicated to their work. And I'm like, oh, so you guys just used your craft to portray a image of a lifestyle that when I was 14, I thought was cool. So you kind of like, I'm glad that experience for you showed you the way, because that experience for me showed me the opposite.
Not to mention whatever Danny Matherson was doing in the background. Hello.
Hey, come on.
Oh, it's not even a legend.
But I know, but this show is not, we're not talking about dark stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So
keep it light. We get a little dark on the Patreon every now and then, but on the YouTube, we like to keep it light. Things up.
Let's just talk about a guy getting his face busted for 5 straight rounds, 25 minutes, a knee like a baseball bat to his dome. Not dark at all.
I kind of
want
to share my screen and show the open bet sheet, because if you've been in the open bet sheet lately, you see that I have a whole new layout on my tab, and it's got images, it's got color coordination, it's got big font, big text. You're going to be really happy. If you haven't been in the open bet sheet in a while, make sure you take a look, because although my bets didn't win, it looked amazing. It looked really great. Alex, he copied a little bit of my format layout, and his bets won. So you got the good format and the good bets. Dan's, if I'm looking at Dan's, same old format, but
same old winning ways, yo.
As well. So everything's a little bit done up. We put lipstick on the pig. The Patreon open bet sheet looks great. It's one link. You click the link, boom, 4 tabs. Everybody's picks, Luke's picks, Alex picks, Dan's picks, all neat and organized for you. And it's a paltry sum of $10 a month or $100 for the year if you get in for the year. That's the discount we provide over there. Just get in there, because it basically gives you a help desk, a customer service line directly to the show. You can DM me in the Patreon. If you're a Patreon member, I'll talk to you on Instagram. I'll even follow you on Instagram. I'll respond to you in the Discord more often than not. Really, it just gives you buy-in to the show, right? And I know so many of the people in the gambling community are just the smartest financial people in the world, and you guys really know how to allocate your money. And just signing up for an auto pay of $100 a year, it's like that. You'd have to be, what time it is, and that Mr. Ramsey would say that's not a proper financial move. You're financial geniuses, I completely know. But I think if you just think about it from the 5D chess perspective, as like, okay, it's $100 if I lock in now. Inflation is going to make that $100 $50, and then $20, and then $1 probably in the very near future when we become like a what's the word, Dan?
Venezuela.
Did they have a currency problem?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Last I checked. Yeah,
inflation, guys. So really, any costs, monthly, yearly, whatever, that you can lock in today for a set price, that's such a smart move that the expenditure, it's almost like, well, yeah, but what's it going to cost in the future when they raise the price to outpace inflation? And I got my lock in right here, right now at this rate. That's what you have to consider. Furthermore, you also have to consider, Alex, how much money did you win? All right, 2 questions. How much money did you bet, and how much money did you win if they bet every bet you did in the open bet sheet, and then how much did you win? Roundabout.
This week?
Rough estimates.
This week?
How much would, if they
$100.
$100?
$100.
At 100,
and
okay.
If you did everything the way I did it, you won $1,281.
And that's with cash outs. That also
I cashed out one of my bets that ended up winning.
He cashed out a bet. He alerted the open bet sheet. I cashed out. And then that made him above broke even for the night with more bets to still play out, which won $1,200. So let's think about that. $100 for the year of the Patreon, because I'm not saying we win every week. Obviously, nobody wins every fucking week. We don't even exist. But $100 for the year, and then $100 on the night with Alex, you're up $1,000. Don't renew next year. You're up. Take that 1,000. Buy yourself some Bitcoin. Buy yourself some S&P 500. Not financial advice. Not financial advisor. Buy yourself gold. Buy silver. Not a financial advice. Don't even exist. Not financial advisor. But
Luke, you don't got to tell these finance.
take the money and run. Take the money and run. You don't even ever have to see us again. You don't even ever have to see us again. The house always wins, guys. So get in, get out, take the money and run. First year of the show, there was that one guy who said, I tailed all your picks. I made a couple of my own edits, and then I won $18,000. You guys are the best. You guys, I paid off my house and took my wife on a trip to Jamaica. He was a Canadian fellow. And then he
left his wife on that trip.
I never fucking heard from him again. I swear to God, I never heard from him again. So if you're still watching the show, bro, comment something, because I like wanted to frame that comment. That was like week 5 of the show. I was like, we are fucking geniuses. So get into the Patreon. We're gambling with the money, and when we're not gambling with the money, we're going to basically set it up to use for events in the future. So we have big plans for year 5. Big plans for International Fight Week. Big plans.
That money is never ever going to be used for an event of any nature unless we win money.
No.
Unless we win money with it. There's no way it's going to get higher than $500 before we put it on a Sergey Pavlovich type bet. And
Guys, get into the Patreon. We need about $500 a month, and then we're going to start rolling some of the money into a planned event for the Patreon members.
The planned event will be a live stream, watching us gamble it all.
I mean, it'll be in Pennsylvania. It'll be in the tri-state area. So it's like, you got to get there, but we'll plan an event.
We'll plan an event.
It'll be like Nathan for you when you had to get the rebate. It's like, all right, meet us at Jack Frost Big Boulder, but on the mountain, but like on the
You gotta find me.
You gotta find me.
I'll be wearing a Perfect Parlay Pursuit shirt. You find me and say the secret code.
You're gonna need a lift ticket and rentals, and also to know how to snowboard. All right.
Can I request a fight to talk about that's pressing on my mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we please talk about Curtis Blades and Jailton Almeida? Now, previous to the fight, previous to the fight, they showed a clip of like a Make-A-Wish situation where
I told you about this. I
this
told
kid
you Jailton Almeida was coming in off of loss.
This kid beat Jailton Almeida, and honestly, I'm not completely sure that it wasn't real. I think he might have lost to this kid. And based on the performance that we saw with the little baby rabbit punches to the side of the head, that he just completely, no rhyme or reason.
Little baby rabbit punches, dude.
Little baby rabbit punches, little baby leg kicks. Just did absolutely nothing to defend himself, but he didn't even need to defend himself. He could have just survived and moved the position. He did not do so. So you know what, Jailton Almeida, you don't get the adult scissors, you get the kid scissors, and you're cut. You're cut, son. I'm sorry, but you are done.
I didn't know
the Perfect Parlay Pursuit. You're done. That's all I got to say about that, guys, because he screwed me over. Luckily, I'm still intuitive enough to win money, right? I'm still intuitive enough to win some money here, but oh man, he pressured my Saturday. He put some serious pressure on my Saturday. So you know what, son? You're done. You're done. Let's get that kid in the UFC. Let's get him in there. I'd much rather see him fight.
In my professional opinion, prop comedy is the highest form of intelligence.
Oh man,
especially within the comedic world.
Parrot Top, Gallagher, the
No
list
doubt.
goes on. Okay,
Jeff Dunham, of course.
Damn, bro. I was okay. Big important announcement. Day of the fights. I'm in the shower. I have Dr. Bronner's soap all over my face. I'm reaching for my girlfriend's leg razor, the one that she shaves her legs with. I'm reaching for it. It sits on a little hook in the shower. So I'm reaching for it to try to shave my face real quick, right? Can't find it. In the shower and all the steam and, I'm listening to a podcast and I'm in my own little world and I go, hey, babe, can you bring me a razor blade?
Oh,
The whole world, everything, crab swirls. I go, why did I say it like that? Why did I say it like that? And I go, I looked for my razor blade and it wasn't there. He's in none of my bets. I have Almeida. He's triple P certified. Missing razor blade. Missing razor blade. And then what do you know? The razor blade was actually just on the other little hook. And I go, which let me know. You found him now. You found him now. I go, razor blade.
Wait,
So
who
in
was
that
triple
moment,
P certified?
Almeida was not trophy certified. You're right. You picked blades.
And Dan did too.
No. I think I had Almeida.
Just you. I picked
I'm
Almeida.
looking at the bet sheet.
No,
It
you
says
both
blades.
picked blades. I'm looking at it right now. You both picked blades.
Well,
Look at
whatever. I changed my mind. That's why you gotta sign up for the Patreon.
I think you need access to the bet sheet to recheck your picks and make sure you've placed that at least. Because even if you do change your mind, you still have to place that original
I
one.
did. I had a couple on blades, but
I
got
got
caught beneath.
Well, listen. So in that moment, I tailed Alex's perfect parlay, so I was happy there. But I added blades to a few other ones, and I could then root for blades and was kind of rooting for blades. So if you followed my bet sheet, you saw that change. But yeah, I started to put the pieces together myself where I was like, wait, Almeida's not some great striker. Like you said, failed to hold. I started to listen to you guys, and I basically made a switch. But it was really the shower moment that told me everything I needed to know. I'm very connected to the ethereal realm. I have my onyx here. It keeps me grounded, but I also have my amethyst, which obviously connects you to the great beyond. So, I grab both at the same time. I'm like, I'm like stuck in the middle. But this week we're loading, downloading.
Wouldn't right
grinding,
in the middle be
just
like
amethyst.
right here?
What?
Wouldn't right in the middle be here?
I got this week though, no amethyst. We got just the onyx this week again. Didn't help last week, but I think it takes time. You gotta properly ground yourself. Third eye, chakra alignment, root chakra. We're going earth realm for the time being, and I'm drinking black because it's St. Patrick's Day. So, guys, we're making big changes. We're doing big things. Thank you for joining us. Let's break down next week's card. I think that's about all I wanted to talk about. Obviously, I'll run through this real quick. It was so good to see for the second week in a row, last couple months, one of my picks that I went head to head with Dan against absolutely trounced his guy. So if you go back, Manuel Torres just wrecked Chris Duncan. And then now fast forward to this week, Michelle Pereira. I love how in both instances, they got him in a choke that they didn't even have proper technique for. They just strangled him. Give me that fucking neck.
Well, hold on. Give Lord his credit. He did go out on his shield. No tap.
But
give him credit there.
Panicking. I don't know if he consciously.
It wasn't panicking at all. What are you talking about?
He had a Tony Soprano moment. He was just like really overwhelmed.
Both guys got just absolutely walked down and fucking made come to heel in various fights. And I knew, like, with Michelle Pereira, I asked you on the show, I'm like, let's bet actual money, me versus you, or let's bet some humiliation type bet, because I was like, you're being crazy here. But I was surprised to see so many other fucking weirdos online picked Lord too. So,
I mean, to my credit, it was a fan pick. It was a fan pick.
And everybody wants to be everybody always wants to look back. It's like, guys, don't aim where they were, aim where they're going to be. Don't even aim where they are. Michelle Pereira is 27. He did have that awkward performance like early on. He has changed. Trust me.
Yeah. Especially moving up to 85. He's still huge. And you think that he's 38 based on like his face and stuff. He's 27. That's so insane. 28.
Message to all heavyweights. That's how you finish Josh Parisian. That's the other take. Okay. And that's how no matter where the fight is, you should always be trying to finish him, even if you were on 1 foot, 1 toe, moving backwards. It literally doesn't matter if you can't finish him. If I can't drop you out of a plane blindfolded and then you on the way down punch Josh Parisian and knock him out, you shouldn't be in the UFC. So there's that.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I remember before the fight, Daniel Cormier was like, if you're beating everybody that quick, you got to wonder what's the caliber of competition. I'm like, no, I don't. Josh Parisian sucks.
What's the caliber of this competition? Exactly. I know this competition. I don't know who he fought before. I know who he's fighting now, though, and he sucks. So next question.
Exactly.
Moreau's actually won. Wood actually stinks, but that back fist was lit.
It's like, oh, that's your takeaway?
I didn't mean to hit that.
I was on an island by myself twice. Dustin Poirier and Joanne Wood, both legends. Yeah. Both coming out there as a younger person, and both legends went out on top. I actually heard from a source that's Dustin Poirier's last fight.
Dustin Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
That's just what I've heard from my
All right, hold on.
sources.
I'll tell you what. There's two more fights I want to talk about: Jan and MVP. But that being said, Dustin Poirier is going to fight Islam Makhachev for the title because Islam would love nothing more than that.
Apparently, he said that.
And here's the other thing: he's going to fight him for the title, and he's going to choke him out because father's father loves Dustin Poirier. He really respected him when he came to fight Khabib, and that's why Khabib choked him out, because these guys are deeply religious and they do not want to inflict unnecessary damage. Only to McGregor did Khabib actually try to break his neck. Because people think, oh, he was choking him. No, that was a neck crank. He was trying to snap McGregor's neck around like a fucking Exorcist movie. So Islam will fight Dustin. Islam will armbar or rear naked choke Dustin, or he'll probably guillotine him. And that's that. Bet Islam by submission. That's the bet. I will put my life on it. And Alex can take Poirier again and win money. All right.
I'm never going to take Poirier ever again. In the post-fight interview, he was like, oh, I'm always going to jump guillotine. You know, you miss 100% of the guillotines that you don't take. And then he was like, you know, I never really even got a guillotine.
Like, you miss 100% of the guillotines you do take.
And he's like, I'm never gonna stop doing it. And I was like,
he doesn't
thank
even
God.
do it right. He doesn't even have a good one. He doesn't do it good. He doesn't do it right. There's some guys with nasty guillotines in the UFC. Nate Diaz comes to mind.
Uriah Faber used to have a nasty guillotine. All those
all the alpha male guys, they're training that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, Marcelo Garcia, the Marcelo team, like, he's not even doing it right. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, guys, I know this is gonna sound crazy. I swear I have a better guillotine than Dustin Poirier. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, just because I didn't fight Benoit Saint Denis this weekend doesn't mean that like I couldn't do a better guillotine. It's
just
like,
because you haven't
like
stood up.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he does a kickflip, I do a kickflip. If it happens in a vacuum, it's like, well, one's better, one's not. It's like my kickflip's better. You know what I mean? No offense.
Just because you haven't stood up doesn't mean you can't. Just because you haven't stood up on camera doesn't mean you can't.
Dustin Jacoby.
Okay. So, last thing I want to talk about, two things I want to talk about. Peter Yan is my hero. He's my hero. I really love you, Peter. I had you in my parlays. I stuck with you. I love you. We picked you. We certified you. That was crazy. It was a crazy line. You fought hard. You fought through. You hit one of the best takedowns I've ever seen in a fight. You chained takedowns together. You chained punches together. You were feeding them that uppercut. Hats off to you, Peter Yan. I have the utmost respect for you. I love you. And anything you want from me, you may have, my friend. So ask away. Mow your lawn to question mark. All right. Anything you guys want to say about that before I move on to the one I really wanted to talk about? I feel like
Peter Yan was magnificent.
Yeah. So Michael Venom Page.
Ooh.
Triple B certified him. Plus money odds. The bank robbery.
100% on Triple B.
That was so satisfying for me. So if you guys know, we loved Kevin Holland. I loved Kevin Holland. I picked him. I would say I would watch old episodes with Kevin Holland on that card. I go, the Smack Man will riseth on the Sabbath. The Smack Man riseth again on the third day. The Smack. I picked him in all those fights that he won. I picked him in a bunch that he lost. I picked him against Hamzat Chimaev. So listen, I loved him. And I loved him so much.
That's just what we call standing on business. Okay.
I stood on business. And the thing is, I loved him so much that when it got down to it, they legalized sports betting in the state that I was living in. So there were all these free promo bonuses and no-brainer bets. And I just used all the promo bonuses and referral bonuses to just amass a lump sum of like $1,500 of money that like wasn't mine, right? It was like not from my bank account. I just like, between betting on the no-brainers and getting the bonus, and all the free bets, I just cobbled together about $1,500, and I put it all on Kevin Holland and against Wonder Boy at about even money odds to win 1,000, more than 1,000, but I was looking for 1,000. And man, he quit on his stool. He orchestrated a backroom deal. They got that commercial for. We've talked about this on the show so much. I'm just filling the people.
I was about to say, are we going to go over this?
They got that backroom deal with Jose Cuervo. In the very commercial, they're whispering in each other's ears, like, "Hey, man, you want to hang out after?" Salting my wounds, right? In this fight, right? A couple things I noticed. One, somebody else said this. I said it when the fight happened. I said MVP beat Kevin Holland at his own game. He he did a better walkout. He did better shit talking. He did better taunting. He did better striking. He did better grappling. He did everything better. And then I said Kevin Holland absolutely sold out to his own code, lowered himself, and became a dog at Michael Venom Page's heel throughout that entire fight that he was dog walked. Kevin Holland, for a guy that is so ready to go, it was whispered in Michael Venom Page's ear during the fight. And I actually have the footage that I'll show on the Patreon because I don't want to get this video. But I actually stood at my TV and recorded various moments that I thought Kevin Holland was being a bitch. So we're going to break it down blow by blow on the Patreon. Make sure you join. But one thing I'll cite is it's round 3. There's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left of a fight that he's won 0 minutes of, and he's throwing leg kicks. Okay? That is a signal. That is a point shavers signal to say, hey, I ain't trying to knock you out. So you get it, right? I ain't trying to knock you out. So let's just get to the bell. That's what I saw, at least. That's how I interpreted it. You shouldn't be throwing leg kicks in a fight. Shouldn't be throwing leg kicks in round 3 of a fight. You're losing 2 rounds to nothing. And you damn sure shouldn't be throwing leg kicks 2 minutes left in a fight where you need a knockout or submission to win. He fought like a bitch. He made it worse for the fans. For a guy who always wants to make it good for the fans, you didn't make it good for the fans. You made it worse for the fans by clenching. You were the first one to clench. You were the one who kept clenching. Furthermore, first thing Kevin Holland said when he goes back to his corner is he's faster than we thought. Big tell. Faster than we thought. So what did you think? He was slow? So what did you think? He was like Wonder Boy, who you thought was an old man and was slow and wasn't, and you quit on your fucking stool with a broken hand when Uriah Faber fought Mike Brown with 2 fucking broken hands, a much tougher opponent in a much more competitive division at a time when he was getting paid a fraction of what you were paid to fight Wonder Boy? You no good bitch. Kevin Holland, how far you have fallen. I loved you. You broke my heart. Never again.
I still like Kevin Holland.
I still like him too, to be honest, but I can't. I have to say the truth. You know what I mean? I want to like him, but this is just the truth. He failed at his own code. His own code, the things he said, right? The things that he believes a fight should be. He talks all this shit about grappling, talks all this shit about, these fights should be entertaining for the fans. It should be a real fight, all this Nate Diaz rhetoric. Guess what? You weren't the first to say it, but you are one of the first to say it and then not do it. Dustin Poirier's taking so much more damage than you. He's out here getting his ass fucking whooped, fighting with a sense of urgency. I hate Dustin Poirier, and I got to say he's got way more heart than Kevin Holland.
I'm fighting for my life.
My favorite guys sell me down the fucking river while my least favorite guys shine. That's a me problem. I'm backing the wrong horses. No, hey, Kevin Holland, don't take it personally. It was my fault. It was my fault. I believed that you were something that you weren't.
2 marks against MVP real quick, and he's still at an A-. But if you're going to come out to The Undertaker, first of all, you got to come out second, okay? The guy's got to be in the ring, in the octagon, and he's got to hear The Undertaker's music. He has to see the pageantry, number 1. And number 2, again, coming out to the music, coming out to the whole pageantry, I need to see your eyes roll to the back of your head. This is the criticism I had of Israel Adesanya when he did the same thing. I have to lay it on MVP. I need to see your eyes roll to the back of your head if you're going to do the Undertaker theme. Simple.
My biggest criticism is that wrestling is just like super lame. And like, what was the point?
Well, this is the attitude era.
Stop wasting time. This fight's ending at 3:00 and daylight savings time. I got shit to do in the morning.
Oh, you're saying the fights are ending too late. Yeah.
This fight in particular ended at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it did.
If you take into consideration daylight savings time.
You got to man up, though, and recognize that most of these fights are happening in Vegas. So, obviously it's going to be a little bit better at that time. And it's a global sport.
What do you mean? If anything, that should mean it should start earlier here.
If it's in Vegas, it's earlier for them, so it's later for us. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying if it's earlier for them when the fights are in Vegas, why not start the fights earlier here as well?
Do we have to explain time?
Caralho.
All right, let's move on. We got a fight card to break down, everybody. Thank you for joining us, UFC 299. Thanks to everybody that was in the Discord. Shout out to some folks that are breaking some news. Want to give a special shout out to Mark Coleman. Apparently, he was in a very bad situation with his house burning down. I don't know if it's true. Haven't really looked into it myself, but
It's true.
Mark Coleman pulls through. We love Mark Coleman, and we'll look into it. But anyway, we'll talk more on that in the Patreon or next episode. But pulling for you, Mark Coleman. Thoughts and prayers for Mark Coleman and the family. With that said, guys, we got to get into this UFC fight card. I broke down last week for you. We got Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. It's going to be one of those 13-fight Apex cards. Starts at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. start time. So not much else to say about it. Let's just get through it. Let's win some money. Let's bet, and let's have fun with it. Tai Tuivasa, Marcin Tybura. It's kind of one of those things, right? Like, are you a cool guy or are you a not cool guy? Who are you going to pick, right? I got to use the bathroom, but take everybody through the nuts and bolts of this one. If you guys don't mind, I've been talking too much. People don't like me.
Little mouth on him. Bing, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bing.
The nuts and bolts is Tai Tuivasa is coming in at minus 130 favorite odds against Marcin Tybura here. He's 31 years old, 6'2", 75-inch reach against Marcin Tybura, 38 years old, 6'3", 78-inch reach. He is going to be 1 inch taller, 3 inches longer, and about 20 pounds lighter. Dan, what do you think about this one? I know we're not very high on Tai Tuivasa, but what do you think about this one, Dan?
Yeah, I'm leaning. I think I'm leaning towards Tai Tuivasa here. My initial thoughts were that Tybura would be able to kind of wrap him up against the cage as he typically does, do some dirty boxing, hopefully get a takedown and have some control. But, over the course of 5 rounds, I just think that he will be exposed to the power and more so the athleticism and the speed advantage that Tai Tuivasa was going to have. He's been knocked out in his last fight in the first round. Now, granted, it's Tom Aspinall, so maybe I could give him a pass here. But if you go down the resume, he's also been knocked out by Augusto Sakai. He's been knocked out by Shamil Abdurakhimov. Not the best heavyweights in the world. Now he's 38 years old, and sure, that's in heavyweight years, but it's just I don't know. Even his wins here, we're looking at Walt Harris, we're looking at Greg Hardy, we're looking at Ben Rothwell at the tail end of his career. So at one point in time, I used to be a Tybura truther. I used to be a believer, I think is the better term. But, going up against this matchup here, I think that Tuivasa, it comes down to the athleticism and the speed. And I think he's got that, in spades over Tybura. And eventually, over the course of 5 rounds, probably a lot sooner than that, 1 or 2, he's gonna find that magic button and get this thing done. So I'm going with Tai Tuivasa. How confident am I? I'm at like a 7 out of 10. I'm at a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you have to. Everything says Tai Tuivasa knocks him out because every time, Marcin Tybura, I like Marcin Tybura, but every time he goes up against anybody who's like, I mean, besides Andrei Arlovsky, like he's also some pretty old guys. He's also some pretty powerful guys. He's also some pretty young guys. But one thing he hasn't done is really beat anybody but old guys, slow guys. And I'm going to go with Tai Tuivasa. I don't really love it, but I just think he's going to win. I don't really like Tai Tuivasa much anymore. I will bet a shoey on this. If Luke takes Marcin Tybura, I will do a shoey if I have to lose, but I have a feeling that this might be Triple P certified. Actually, I won't do a shoey.
Switching from Guinness to coconut water. Holy cow, this is a real mixology.
Well, I ran out of Guinness.
Yeah, but I mean, the coconut water, this is
I don't have any seltzer right now, but I love coconut water. Is a great, like,
I get it. Coconut water is great, but combined with Guinness, I mean, these
it's not
two
combined.
things do not mix.
It's been several minutes since I've taken a sip of Guinness. Like 7 or more. When you were a kid, did you think several meant like 7?
Several?
Yeah,
I think that was like 4.
You know,
That
1,
was like 4.
2 is a couple, 3.
I would say several is like 6. Because a few is 4.
I don't know. When I was a kid, I thought several.
Few is 3.
Seven.
No.
You know, let's get the precursor. Listen, I'm going with Marcin Tybura here. I'm much too impressed by him in so many different ways, right? So, like, yeah, Tom Aspinall knocked him out 7 months ago. I think he lasted a lot longer than Sergey Pavlovich, who knocked out Tuivasa. So, he also beat my guy, Alexander Romanov, who I was really, really high on. I mean, you see a heavyweight hit a belly-to-back suplex, a fucking 5-point takedown. It's like, yeah, you have a lot of respect for that guy. He's sure he gassed out in that fight with DeLima. Who was that fight guy? Or not DeLima, the retired guy. Looks like DeLima, but he kicked him in the nuts. Remember that? Yeah, it's like, okay, listen, he was up to, I don't care if a heavyweight has fucking gas tank problems. Like, they all have fucking gas tank problems. Who doesn't have gas tank problems at heavyweight? You know? So beats Romanov, loses a decision to Volkov, whereas last fight 5 months ago, he got choked out by Volkov pretty quick. This fight, I think, could look a lot like when you get a power punching boxer against a more skilled boxer, right? Tai Tuivasa is essentially Deontay Wilder, and this is the Gypsy King. You know, this is Tyson Fury, Marcin Tybura, because he's been in the game longer. He's more refined. He's been against better competition and done better against that better competition. He knows how to win minutes. He knows how to win fights. So if you get a Marcin Tybura in the Apex, not a big crowd, you know, no shoey, no momentum, not in Australia like he's used to. Ty's used to fighting in West Adelaide, you know. You take a guy like that, herding culture, you know, it's kind of like that old story, right? You have a Virginian and a New Yorker, New York City and a Virginian, okay? And they paid actors to work at a lab and pretend to be hospital goers. And essentially, the guy from Virginia, West Virginia, like from the Appalachians, right? He comes in, and as he comes in to get his blood taken, all he thinks that's happening is he's getting a blood sample done. He walks in, and one of the actors gives him a hard shoulder and is like, "Poof, watch where you're going, asshole," and then keeps going, right? So then when they took his blood immediately after that, spiked with cortisol through the roof, right? When you did it of a metropolitan region guy, like a New York City guy, nothing really happened, right? And I'm not saying that means New York City people are tougher. I'm not saying that by any means. It's a real interesting study in herding cultures. When you grow up where there's not as much people around, things mean more. And you get more amped up by like with adrenaline and shit during certain moments. Whereas if you're like calm and kind of more used to being around a lot of people, if that were to happen to you every time you had one of those encounters, you'd fucking die young because you'd be so stressed all the time, right? Every New Yorker, every time you fucking saw a dick on the subway, you got spiked with cortisol, you'd be dead in a week. So it was an adaptive mechanism, right? Ty's adaptive mechanism is not going to be activated because he's not fighting in front of his fucking hometown in Australia, in West Adelaide, which is like Redneckville, USA. It's like pretty much Alabama, right? So he's going to be in the Apex, subdued, flight. I don't know where he's training now. It might be Dubai, might be Australia, might be in fucking Vegas. He might be fucking training in Vegas. But I don't know. Something tells me that Tybura can win the 5 minutes here if he doesn't get knocked out. And he's only at risk for getting knocked out for a certain portion of the fight. Ty will quit if he gets taken down early. And if he doesn't find success early, he will quit. He is not like Derek Lewis, who will lie in wait and conserve his energy and wait and play possum and hypnotize you. He will just get discouraged and quit. I've seen it. So if Ty loses 4 in a row, though, I mean, you got to think, man. Fan favorite, 4 losses in a row. They don't want to cut him. So that you gotta look behind the curtain a little bit and go, all right, like what's going on with the matchmaking here? That like they're trying. You got to think in this position with 3 losses in a row, they're going to give him favorable matchmaking. And the reality of that is you slide down the rankings. So that's kind of why you get favorable matchmaking. Is that you're not fighting contenders anymore. You're fighting guys that are at the lower end of the division. But he's not fighting like an up and comer, right? He's not fighting like some guy he's not fighting Romulus Despanje, right? Imagine if they gave him Romulus Despanje. Then we'd know. Then we'd be like, Ty's going to bare knuckle. Ty's going to Red FC. You know what I mean? Ty's going to the PFL. But that's not what they gave him. They gave him Marcin Tybura coming off of a knockout loss. That not more than a year ago. So for that reason, trophy certified Ty Tuivasa. Doesn't matter if he wins fucking minutes. He's going to get knocked out in the first round.
Oh, did you guys see Francis Ngannou get knocked the fuck out?
No. Tybura.
Oh, we banned boxing from here. I forgot.
I'm going with Tuivasa. I talked myself into it. At the end of the day, like, this is a fucking conspiracy of the highest degree, and we're not letting Ty lose 4 in a row. There's no fucking way in hell they're letting Ty Tuivasa lose 4 in a row. What was I fucking thinking? You can be as logical as you want, but at the end of the day, you just got to put on the tinfoil hat and go, no, that's not happening. They gave him Marcin Tybura because he's a slow, plodding, knockoutable Polish guy, and
When you look into it,
she'll be certified Ty Tuivasa. Moving on. Brian Battle, Angelusa. Brian Pooh Bear Battle versus
I get the reference.
Angelusa. Shout out to Pixies. We got Brian Battle, Pooh Bear coming off back-to-back fucking finish wins against top competition. You got Angelusa coming off decision wins against some of the same competition. Decision win against AJ Fletcher, whereas Brian Battle finished him in his last fight. He's also got a win against Reese McGee by decision, right? We've seen what Reese is capable of in there with guys like Hamzat. Munir Lazez beat Angelusa by decision. John Howard beat him by decision. Jack Della Maddalena actually beat him by decision in the Contender Series fight 2.5 years ago. He beat John Howard by decision, but Lazez and Maddalena beat him. So we have to ask ourselves, look at his last 5. The 2 guys that beat him are Jack Della Maddalena by decision too, which we've seen. Jack Della Maddalena isn't a minute winner necessarily. To me, line's right, but it's generous. Brian Battle all the fucking way. I almost want to overdraft my bank account and bet $1,500 on him just to win 1,000. His only losses against Hinat Fakhretdinov. He's a stud. 20-2, dispatched Kevin Lee, and he lost to him by decision, right? A year and 2 months ago. I'll save some takes for you guys, but I'm heavily impressed. Angelusa looks enough like Treson Gore, and Brian Battle beat him. So I think Angelusa, at the end of the day, this is a generous line. They both got that flounder look. Eyes kind of too close. What?
Flounder.
Opposite of Jerry Jones, owner of the Cowboys. What's his name?
Jerry
You're
Jones.
thinking of Anna Taylor-Joy, actress.
I guess Jerry Jones is more of a flounder. There's another kind of fish that has the close eyes. I forget, but either way,
Bronzino.
What is it? A Bronzino?
Bronzino. I don't know.
Okay. Mr. Red Lobster. I didn't know you were so, well, what are you hanging out at the Wharf District?
Yeah,
Going down by the Wharf, buying them fresh?
South Philly. I'm also going to back you on this with the double B's, going with some Brian Battle. I think the comp, maybe not as far as looks, but as far as fight style, is a Gabe Green, right? A guy with a good gas tank who's going to keep coming forward. That's Angelusa in a nutshell here. He dispatched of him in the first round, knocked him out. How can you say anything bad about Brian Battle, the winner of the greatest tournament known to man, the Ultimate Fighter? Guys just keep getting better, refining his skill set, adding some power to his game. Tough as nails, and is never going to quit. Right, he's going to bring in that Dustin Poirier mindset, a la UFC 299. It's going to be there all day. I like Brian Battle. Like this one's pretty cut and dry to me. I'm agreeing with Lukey all the way. Triple P certified. We will see.
All right, Brian Battle, before Alex gets into it, I need you to say, after you win, I'm going to have me a Coors Light. A Coors Light, because Bud Light ain't paying me nothing. And hell, I might even get on top of Ian Gary's wife later.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
Just
not cool.
Because remember, they had that back and forth. They had the back and forth, the infamous back and forth. So I think that would be the best line drop.
That's what got you started with Ian Gary.
Yeah.
You and Ian.
Yes, I've made mistakes. All I can do now is apologize and move on. I don't know what. Guys. Okay. Can I just?
Yes, please.
All I can say is I've made mistakes.
That's a long one. It wasn't a mistake. I don't apologize for absolutely nothing. Okay, moving on.
I'm gonna take.
Yeah, Alex, go. What are you gonna? I know you're gonna pick. You're my boy.
I'm gonna take
Rob
Brian
the
Battle.
boys here.
I'm gonna take Brian Battle. I love Brian Battle. I think he looks a lot like Forrest Griffin, and I think he's gonna win this fight.
He should name himself
Brian Battle looks like Forrest Griffin.
I think Brian Battle and Forrest Griffin look exactly alike.
Forrest and Griffin are also nouns. Battle is a verb. Brian, Forrest, Griffin, battle. It's a Forrest and a Griffin in a battle. He's summoning the spirits of both Forrest and the Griffin. It's better than Luke the Iceman, Chuck Liddell.
Do you know what Forrest Griffin looks like? Do you not think they look alike?
I got a double take on this. I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm going with Brian Battle. Next up, we got Kennedy Nzechukwu versus one of my favorite fighters, Ovin St. Preux. And what do you think about what? What's so funny?
That he's one of your favorite fighters. I mean, it's cool, I guess. I don't care.
He is one of his favorite fighters since the history of the show.
Yeah. He almost survived against John Jones. Or like
he did survive against John Jones. He almost beat him too. Some would say that was John Jones' closest fight. Maybe me.
For me, I'm going to go with
Hopper's Tap House in Salisbury, Maryland. Shout out to Hopper's Tap House.
Is that where you saw the fight?
That's where I saw John Jones versus Ovin St. Preux. I remember like it was yesterday.
Nice. I'm taking Nzechukwu, however you say his last name, Kennedy. The line is crazy. He's like minus 500. Definitely can't do that. But OSP at this point in his career, he's really hammering it in. He's throwing like 5 strikes per fight, whereas Kennedy Nzechukwu is really he's refining his game as well, just like Brian Battle. He's getting better all the time. Coming out of Fortis MMA, so it'll be great to hear Safe Sahu going, Kennedy, throw the right, move to the right, just screaming at him. That's always entertaining. So that'll be fun. But really a no bet situation, having a light heavyweight fight here. That's always a little volatile.
Well, I think there's a bet to make.
What's the bet? Knockout? Finish for Kennedy? Are you actually going to go with OSP?
I guess you'll just have to wait and see.
I'm passing it over to you.
When you add then multiply, I call it mathematics.
No, I'm not going with Ovin St. Preux. I'm sorry. I'm going with Kennedy Nzechukwu. Just because you can't go with your heart, man. I learned this the hard way. You can't be going with your heart. You got to go with what you know. And I think Kennedy Nzechukwu is going to win. Although I hope Ovin St. Preux wins. I will put a little bit of money on Ovin St. Preux just to be happy if he wins. But official pick, Kennedy Nzechukwu. Luke, what say you if you're available? If not, we can move to the next.
It's Kennedy all day. You know, you guys don't bet on 40-year-olds, but I hate the line. Take him by finish. I see Ovin St. Preux shelled up against the cage. Kennedy hitting him with body shots, punches, and then the ref stopping it while he's still standing. So,
the Midwest chopper. I love me some Isaac Dolgarian. Next up, we've got Isaac Dolgarian versus Christian Rodriguez. I like both of these guys a lot. Dan, you're pretty high on Christian Rodriguez. Luke is not, on the other hand. Dan, what do you think is going to happen in this fight? Is Dan frozen?
Is he frozen? Oh my God. I thought he was just being a big dick to you. All right. Yeah, I'm going to go with Isaac Dolgarian. I think this one's favorably lined. Obviously, it's a pick 'em. So no matter who you have, you're feeling pretty good about it. I like Isaac. I was really impressed, obviously, with both of these guys, right? So Frankie Marshall, I think I picked against Isaac. Cameron Simon, I think I picked against Rodriguez. So 2 guys that I don't really know the fuck how to call, but height and reach equal. I think Christian has succeeded a lot due to his height and reach, whereas I think Isaac Dolgarian at Factory X fighting for a lot with Mark Montoya and his health issues, big time rallying around Brandon Royval and his big performance over Brandon Moreno. So I think momentum's on his side. Rodriguez is going to be faced with something he's never seen before, 1 year older, but 1 year and 6 months older, 1.5 years. You know, imagine the kid in the grade above you, right? A little bit tougher, a little bit more a step ahead, 27, 26. Big difference. I like it. I'm going with Isaac Dolgarian. A little bit less experience, but I think he's in the right place and has a little bit more life experience. I don't know how 74% of Tapology is on Rodriguez yet. Dolgarian's the favorite. I'm expecting the line to maybe move a little bit I think all the other handicappers are going to pick Rodriguez, put the plus money on there. I think it's a pretty even fight. Want to take the plus side, but I don't know. I think Isaac Dolgarian has a little bit more attributes. I think CJ Rodriguez, his only thing is he's more like a finisher, right? Let me see his last wins. No, I mean he's a decision machine, but I guess I was just thinking of has he even had a finish in the UFC? Josh Weems, yeah. So yeah, I don't see him submitting Isaac Dolgarian. And I do see him striking with him, and I see Isaac coming out ahead in that one. So give me Isaac Dolgarian. I'm with you. We'll have to get back to Dan, guys. But
what weight class is this? Okay, so Christian Rodriguez is going up in weight class. What's the size discrepancy here? Do you know?
There is none. That's what I'm saying. So for the first time, he's not going to have that advantage. This powerful element in the art of war, element of surprise. He's going to be surprised, face adversity. He's only got one loss. I'm seeing this as a nightmare sparring match for him in a quiet room where he finds himself on his back quite a bit, and going for submissions against Isaac Dolgarian, it's not going to go well for you. I don't think he's going to have a choice except to try to pursue that game plan. It's going to get him behind on the striking. Between Brian Battle and Isaac Dolgarian, that's a nice little two-piece.
Yeah, but Dolgarian hasn't been past the first round, so you gotta wonder.
You gotta look at the minute winner in that situation, but I think smaller guy coming up in weight, right? What's that going to mean? A little bit residual rest here and there. So his gas tank's not going to be what it was, believe it or not, at the lower weight class. Some people say, oh, now he's up there, he's fresher. Sometimes, especially when you really need to try to make the weight, that makes you more disciplined.
You're out running every day.
You're running, you're eating right, and that's residual benefit. So, and then why do you even get the benefit to fight the smaller guy and have that reach like he had? Simon tries to get that advantage, and he had it over Simon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm not trying to talk you into anything, but this is how I'm.
I'm taking Dolgarian, but yeah, I don't know. You gotta wonder if it goes past that first round, how Dolgarian's gonna look. You never know when you haven't seen it before, but I think Christian Rodriguez will be in there for longer than one round. So that does make me a little nervous, but I do think Dolgarian will find a way to win.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Something to consider as the week goes on. Penny Kianzad, Macy Chiasen. Guys, we'll try to keep this quick. Dan's back. What's up, Dan? You picked you didn't pick, but perfect timing. Dolgarian or C-Rod.
Yeah, I'm really not high on this fight. This is really more of a fight where I want to learn than I want to bet. I know what I know about Christian Rodriguez. This is a guy who's very skilled and has a mind for the fight game, right? A guy with a body like that who's not super athletic, doesn't throw the hardest punches. In order for him to amass the amount of success that he has to have a good understanding of positions and all that. So I know that this guy's game as they come. He's tough, and again, understands the fight game in itself. So I love that. Isaac Dolgarian, don't know as much about this guy, but he's certainly, he seems to be pretty legit. But I'm just waiting to see, him going into the later rounds. Does he have a gas tank problem? I don't know. He hasn't really gone all that far. So for the pick, I'll go with Christian Rodriguez, but very little investment, not enough information. I'd much rather learn from this fight than, again, put too much money on it. So that's where I stand on this fight.
Sometimes you gotta sit down, shut the hell up, and listen. And
that's
I
right.
like that you're choosing to do that this way.
That's right.
Yeah, that's really smart, Dan. Alex is noting that Dolgarian never been out of round one. Obviously, C-Rod a minute winner coming up in weight, going to have a little bit of a boost in his gas tank. But we also noted that maybe not. Maybe he doesn't put in the extra road work. Maybe he doesn't put in the extra diet. Maybe he's like, I don't need to cut weight, and he doesn't train as hard residually, and then doesn't have the same gas tank. Faces a little bit of adversity in that first round, and then it snowballs from there. So two ways it could go. I could see him either rising to the occasion or faltering and succumbing, but I'm going to take Dolgarian for now. No trophy certification there. Let's see if this lady fight has one. Banzai Kianzad coming off a loss, plus 145 underdog against Katlyn Vieira. Before that, she beat Lena Landsberg. Before that, lost to Raquel Pennington. Before that, back-to-back wins against Sajara Eubanks and Alexa Alexis Davis. 5 fights in 3 years, whereas Macy Chiasson, much more active. Actually, no, I forgot. She had a fight. She's had 5 fights in 4 years because big gap between her winning the UFC 4 years ago, Shanna Young, coming back to fight Marion Renault, old lady, 3 years ago, then fought Raquel Pennington, lost by guillotine, fought Norma Dumont to a split decision. We love Norm. And then Irene Aldana beat her with that up kick to the liver. That was a year and 5 months ago. You guys remember that, right? Healed to the liver, shut her down. Now, we talk about Macy Chiasson. All respect to you, Macy. Reach out if you need anything. We know that you had a crane fall on your house. Read all these articles about how the world is just coming down on you. And, to me, it's not that, like, I think you deserve those things, but I do think that where there's smoke, there's fire, and I got to avoid listen, I'm saying I got to avoid betting on her because I don't know what's going on in her life. Like, she could be like coming into this fight like, yeah, my fucking dog had to take him to the vet. Fucking somebody rear-ended me. Like, I'm like, okay. I don't know. This is getting crazy. I'm out. You know what I mean? It's like Mr. Wonderful and $1 Million. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I'm like, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
So Kiani Khanzada at plus 140. That's the pick for me. A little bit of a reach advantage, a little bit of a height advantage. You know what I say? Not going to matter. She's getting the fight to the ground.
Did you see there's 6 main card fights on this? That's what I'm saying. They don't even give a shit about these Apex fights. They're like, you're not paying for it. It's on ESPN Plus. Who cares what's the main card? Who cares what's the prelims?
It doesn't even make
it's
sense.
all the same bullshit. It's all the same bullshit you're watching
Makes no sense.
on these dumb cards.
I'm only gonna take it for so much longer.
So
I don't know what I'm gonna do. But
did you take Panty Khanzad?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Red Panty Night. Not for me though. I am going with Macy Chiasson. These two ladies have fought each other before. It was Ultimate Fighter Finals. Macy Chiasson finished her rear naked choke second round. Macy Chiasson is stronger than ever. She's been through even more than she had at that time. And you know what they say? They say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Macy Chiasson's going to come out there with a smile on her face, get the job done, and walk out the same way she came in. A strong, independent woman, and she's going to win this fight. Macy Chiasson all the way. Dan, what say you?
I think I got to go with Macy Chiasson as well. I think that there's going to be a strength advantage here. I think Panty might have a slight speed advantage, but not enough to overcome what Chiasson's bringing in there. Panty has lost to some physical opponents in the past, the likes of Raquel Pennington and such. I think that's going to be the game plan of Chiasson. Wear on her against the fence, kind of negate that speed advantage that I talked about before. Maybe even get to her back and get to her rear naked choke like she has when they first fought. So, I mean, how crazy can I be about this fight? Not all that much, but again, if I got to make a pick here, let's go with Macy.
Macy has not fought in a year and 5 months. Also, didn't make weight in her last fight. Cuts a lot of weight from 5'11" down. Built-in excuse. Let's see what happens. All right. Gerald Meerschaert versus Brian Barberina. What?
The 6th fight on the main card.
I mean, this is crazy. This is a crazy fight. 36-year-old Gerald Meerschaert coming off back-to-back losses versus 34-year-old Brian Barberina coming off 3 losses in a row. You wonder, right? You go, Dana White, all you want is to be friends with Taylor Lewan and the other guy, and you want to be friends with Will Compton, and you want to be friends with all these playmakers and these catch the ball, throw the ball, elite athletes. And this is what you got in your own sport. It's like these guys are 17 losses, 11 losses. I'm going to say this one time. Let's have a gentleman's rule. We'll call it the gentleman's rule. If you have double-digit losses, you're out of the UFC. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're a gentleman, see what I'm saying? And the gentleman just exits stage left on his own. He says, I understand. It's 21 rule in Madden. 21 rule. You got 21 ruled. You can't have more than 9. Divine, it's called the divine, and we'll call that the divine 9 rule. He's divine 9. He's got 9 losses. If he loses one more, he can't fight in the UFC ever again. Oh.
Not so divine.
But yeah, you can't have guys who are over the age of the average UFC fighter with double-digit losses.
Adam Devine.
Unless, and I'll put this caveat, unless we all really give a fuck. But my opinion is, you can't knock out Robbie Lawler and then lose 3 in a row. It's like, well, why'd you do that, man? Hey, man, why'd you do that, man? Like, come on now. You should have lost to Robbie Lawler.
Cheeto Vera only has one more loss.
DTRT, do the right thing, Brian Barberina.
Cheeto Vera is officially Divine 9. I am Cantabella is out.
Yeah. Who is?
I am Cantabella, Luke. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Ian. I gotta respect my own rules. No one loves you more than me. Did he win last weekend?
No.
That's right. Yeah. I think I was putting the baby to bed when he fought or something like that. But Joe Pyfer knocked this guy out, and then Andre Petrovsky took him to a split decision. I had Andre Petrovsky to finish him. He didn't. That makes me think Gerald Mershark's going to win here. So I'm taking GM3. He's minus 190 favorite. In a million years, didn't think anybody would ever make me bet on this guy, but it's pretty much like picking Sam Alvey in my mind. But you know who else is like picking Sam Alvey in my mind? Brian Bam Bam Barber fucking Rena. So do I think he can go out there and farm strength, walk him down, put him to sleep? Of course. But he's not that kind of fighter. He's all herky-jerky, Keith Jardine, fucking Dominic Cruz, bounce around. Gerald Mershark's going to have no problem putting this guy on his butt, getting the submission. This will be like the millionth submission he's ever gotten. He's at Kill Cliff. He's got a little striking prep, if you ask me. So I think he'll be okay here. He's going to fight safe. He's going to not get knocked out, and he's going to probably get the submission or the TKO victory via mount on Brian Bam Bam, no grappling, white belt Barberina. Is that good?
I think it's very good. I think the analysis is very astute. If it's a striker that had some pop to him, I'd be a lot more nervous because, Gerald Meerschaert has been knocked out many a time. But Brian Battle, at this point in his career, even in his prime, really didn't have all that much pop, relied a lot on the volume. But the Achilles heel of the kryptonite of Brian Barberina here is the grappling. Which is, where I see this fight going. I see Gerald Meerschaert get into the back at some point in time. I don't think the striking and, the volume of Brian Barberina is really going to overpower him to the point where he can't put himself in a position of getting some crazy scramble where he ends up on his back and gets that submission. So let's go with GM3 here. Minus 190. I think that's lined up just about right. So I like this play.
I don't know, man. Brian Barberina finished Robbie Lawler like 2 years ago.
Oh, with one foot in retirement and the other on a Matchbox car or a Hot Wheel car. What's that? What's the toy car?
Both are the same.
Perfect.
Any of size.
Either of those two work. But Brian Bam Bam Barberina lost to Jason Witt too. Yeah, whatever. I'll go with Jared Marshall.
All right. Well, unconfidently, Alex will trophy certify Gerald Meerschaert. Next, we got Mike Beast Boy Davis fight of the night.
That's the Patreon. Patreon.
Oh, that's right. Patreon. All right.
Sorry, folks.
Cheer me up, babe. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Huh?
Get over to the Patreon if you want to hear the prelims breakdown. There's plenty of prelims fights, much more money to discuss, much more bets, lines, and odds, all these things. Natan Levy versus Mike Davis. We're going to be breaking that one down, both coming off back-to-back wins. And you got a really good line disparity, plus 205 for Levy, minus 250 for Beast Boy. So let's go. Let's talk about this fight in the Patreon. Thanks for joining the show. Let's take you through our picks top to bottom. Main card first. I'm going with Ty Tuivasa, reluctantly Trilby certified him. Brian Battle, Kennedy and Chukwi, Isaac Dolgarian, Penny Kianzad, and Gerald Meerschaert. That's my 6 main card picks for you guys. Join the Patreon to hear the other half. And Alex, Dan, take them through your picks.
Me, Ty Tuivasa, Brian Battle, Kennedy and Chukwu, Dolgarian, Macy Chison, and Gerald Meerschaert. Damn.
We're starting off with some Ty Tuivasa, mixing a little Brian Battle. How about Kenny Njoku, followed by Christian Rodriguez, Macy Chiasson, and Gerald Meerschaert.
And Trilby certified picks are going to be Ty Tuivasa, Brian Battle, Kennedy and Chuck Wu, and Gerald Mershark.
We're gonna mere shard our pants when we win all this money.
Oh, I'm gonna shard all over the place. We'll have to reset the clock. Thanks, guys, for joining the show. We appreciate your viewership. Give us a comment. Tell us what you thought, what your picks are, where we're wrong, anything you have. We'd appreciate it. Join the Patreon, $100 for the year. Get in there. Alex just won $1,200 last weekend, only putting out $100 in his open bet sheet that you can access via the Patreon. No promises. We're not even real. We're not financial advice. Odds of change. Thanks so much, guys. We love you. We love you. Big kiss. Big kiss. Hug.